Hey everybody, it's Jason from the Texas Gun Vault 2, and we're back out here in the garage for another Garage Gun Talk and upcoming projects video. And before I get into the Garage Gun Talk portion, which is the shorter portion, I do have to apologize once again for the low hum in the background. I know if you're watching me on your television or your computer where you might have a subwoofer, you're probably hearing the hum of my fan, which is on the ground. If you're on your phone, you might not notice it, but it is early October here in North Texas and it's still pretty warm. So my garage, I think, is about 88 degrees, so it's not too bad, but it is a little bit uncomfortable. So I definitely need the fan on, so you'll just have to put up with it. All right, so let's get into the Garage Gun Talk of the night, and it is going to be an update on my latest AR build. And oh my gosh, do I have so many ARs? But I love building them, and I love especially building clones. Now, 2 or 3 videos ago, I spoke with you all and showed you a Bushmaster A2 lower receiver that I had just sitting in the safe. It's been in there for like 2 years. I had nothing to do with it. And I was like, you know what? I got this, which of course, you know, the lower receiver is the firearm, so I don't have to worry about any like FFL paperwork or anything. What should I do with it? What should I build with it? And you guys gave me some great ideas. I know the most popular idea was to build a dissipator, which essentially is a 16-inch barreled AR with a rifle-length gas system. One was made famous in the North Hollywood shootout. It was based off of the M16A1, and there are other ones that are based off of the M16A2. And I mentioned that I tried to, I guess, source some parts, and it just didn't really seem like it was going to come together. Nobody really makes dissipator barrels. I mean, they do, but not in the way that I would want it to be. I would want a chrome-lined barrel, something more military, mil-spec kind of thing. There's a lot of people that make kind of like, I don't say cheaper nitride, but like, I don't know, it just wasn't going to be the right build. It wasn't the right build at the right time. And some other people had mentioned, actually I think it was one person had mentioned, hey, you have a Mark 12 Mod 0 and a Mod 1. Why don't you build a Mod H, which is the third and I think the last variant of the Mark 12? And I was like, you know, that's a good idea. So I did some research on it. And when it comes to this build, I was not looking to be super clone correct. Now, a couple of my builds are super clone guns. My Mark 18 Mod 1 and my Mark 12 Mod 1. I really tried to go all out on those. Even my Mark 18 Mod 0. But the other clones, a lot of them, are going to be close. Not close enough that I say they're clone correct, but for the most part, they're 95% right. But then there are the guns that are clone inspired. So I have kind of all 3 tiers. This one I think falls into the second category, where I'm not trying to go for the most clone correct, but I'm trying to be as specific as possible and get the right look. And maybe a few things just aren't right, but I'm going to have fun with this build more than anything. So let me show you the current state of the project. I did show you that I had bought a Mod H upper from Midwest, did I say Midwest? Midway USA recently. Got a great deal for it. It's a PRI, Precision Reflex International. So this is the upper receiver. And you can now see that the A2 lower no longer has an A2 stock. It has the B5 Systems SOP-Mod stock on it. I could have gone with the Ace SOCOM stock, but I decided to go with this one because this is one that was used on later ones just before they kind of took the Mark 12s out of service. Plus, it's a little bit cheaper and a little bit easier to get. But I like the look of the SOP-Mod stocks, and these have just always felt so comfortable to me. They just work, and I love them. So I went with that. I do have a Geisley Super Semi-Automatic Enhanced trigger coming. Now, obviously, this is going to be a semi-automatic only firearm. The originals were full auto, but it's the semi-auto version of the trigger that they put into those guns. I did get a B&T Industries, not B&T the gun company, but the bipod company. This is the Atlas V8 BT10. which this has an NSN number, and this is kind of like their first bipod that put them on the map and was used on the later Mark 12 Mod H's. So I got that, and then I got I think this is actually a ProMag HK clone of their vertical foregrip. So this is one of those non-clone correct parts, but it looks the part essentially. But it does have an NSN number, and it does have a cage code, which is kind of interesting. So I guess they made these for the military in lieu of the Knights Armament ones. So I got that on it. I'm trying to think of what else. I think once I get the trigger, I think for the most part, the gun itself is complete. I still need to work on the optic and the suppressor, and I think the suppressor will be next. But I'm going to wait until January to track that down because obviously the tax goes away after January the 1st. One of the stores I visited today actually had both the Allen Industries AEM5 and the Otter Creek Labs OCM5, which both look the part. The AEM5, the Allen Industries, is the clone correct one. I have two of those for my other Mark 12s, but I think with this one, I'm going to go with the OCM because it has a titanium tube and a modern baffle stack in it, but it looks correct. And being that I'm not going for the absolute perfect gun, I think that's probably the better one to go with. But we'll just have to see what happens come January. So anyway, that's the state of the Mark 12 Mod H build at the moment. So still waiting on some stuff to come in. And when I get that in, I will share with you that update and talk about the state of the project. And once I get this done, we'll do a video with all three variants of the Mark 12. All right, so tell me what you think about that. And now let's get to the upcoming projects portion of this video. I did a lot of Texas gun vaulting today. I returned a firearm to my friend Michael, which was the Burst Thunder 380 Plus. And then I went to see my friend Richard and my friend Jack. And if you've been watching the channel for a while, it's Jack number 1, the OG Jack, the original gangsta, the first Jack that has lent stuff to the channel. So we're going to start with his gun first. He's like, hey, I got something cool I know you're definitely going to want to review. And, ooh, it's a Colt. It's a Colt, and you guys know I love Colt because I feel like this company's history goes hand in hand with the history of the United States. And when I first got my start on YouTube many years ago, my original channel was the Fort Worth Colt guy. So what in the world is in this box? Well, it is... Hold on. A Colt Python, and it's one of the new ones. Now, I have reviewed one of the older ones, but not the new ones. So mechanically, these are a little bit different internally. The triggers don't feel the same, but I think they're supposed to be a little bit more durable. Now, when these first hit the market, they did have some problems. I do know there was some parts breakage, but I think all of that has been ironed out and fixed. This is a stainless steel Python, and it's not the polished finish, even though it has a very reflective finish. I actually like this finish the most because it is very forgiving. And if you do get it scratched, you can buff the scratch out, where you can't do that on the polished finish. And I think it's very easy to clean. Colt does a good job with the modern grips. Not perfect, but I do like the Colt medallion in there. And this is going to be a really cool gun. You have that rib on the top of the barrel. You get the full-length underlug. It's the classic look, classic dimensions. I think it looks awesome. So I have not reviewed one of the new Pythons yet. So this is going to be new for me. And I'm really excited to, especially kind of going back and looking at my original video on the Python and seeing how it compares, you know, my thoughts with it. And I'm thinking this is going to shoot pretty good. It's 4.5-inch barrel on this one, which is a pretty good size for this. I don't like them too short, and I don't like them too long. I know, that's what she said, right? So the modern Colt Python 357 Magnum. Excited about this. Should be a great review. So I'm going to go ahead and put this one on the back wall because it does need to go into queue, and I will be reviewing that in the next few weeks. All right. So now let's move to my friend Richard and the two guns he lent to the channel. The first one is, I think, a new offering from Smith & Wesson. And I think a lot of channels have already done reviews on this, but I am glad my review will come out in about a year on it. That's how far ahead I am on videos. because I don't want people to think I'm a shill, you know, that kind of stuff, even though I'm not, and these guns are lent to the channel. They're not given to the channel. I'm not on the payroll of any manufacturer. But we are going to be reviewing the Smith & Wesson M&P Shield X, not the Shield Plus. And it's my understanding that dimensionally this is a little bit different. It's a little bit longer. Now, I do know they have some longer versions of the Shield Plus, but you can see it has a different cocking serration setup. I believe the grip is a different length. So from the front strap to the back strap, it's a little bit shorter. It does feel pretty comfortable in my hand, but I fear that Smith & Wesson with the M&P Shield series is doing the same thing SIG is doing with the P365, in that they created like the ultimate carry gun that was not designed to be a range gun, not designed to be comfortable to shoot. It is designed to be the smallest package with the most capacity. And now they're starting to make them big. And this one is getting big. Not too big, doesn't offend me yet, but I can definitely see that trend. But there's some advantages to that. For example, the stock is a little bit longer. So the flush fit 13-round mag and the extended 15-round mags will not pinch your hand if you got larger hands. The slide, however, feels like you have to manipulate it with more force. And Richard was telling me that when he took this to the range, he was having some failures. So the gun might need to be broken in a little bit more. He had some failures to extract and some issues where the slide would lock open even though there was a round in the magazine. So we're going to have to see what happened. He said the gun probably likes hotter ammo than range ammo. We'll just have to see. And of course, when I find out, I will let you know with the first impressions video here on this channel, and finally the range report on my main channel. It is an optics ready pistol, but I will probably review it with just iron sights, because when it comes to these little tiny guns, that's how I would personally carry it. This does not have the manual safety. Most of the versions of it do, but he did not want that, which is okay. I would want the one with it, even though it's probably not that great of a safety anyway. So there you go, Smith & Wesson M&P Shield X. Put that back on the wall. That right there. And then finally, let's get to the most exciting thing on the workbench tonight. This is a gun that I'm excited to review, but I know a lot of people will probably criticize, because the purists out there and the know-it-alls out there will tell me how I'm wrong, I load it wrong, I shoot it wrong, I'm a terrible revolver shooter, blah, blah, blah. I totally get it, okay? This gun is way out of my wheelhouse, okay? I do modern tactical firearms, but I love all guns. Now, I do own a Colt single-action Army. It's unfired from 1978, 7 3/4 inch barrel, chambered 45 Colt. It is case hardened. It looks absolutely beautiful, absolutely beautiful. But I've never reviewed it because I don't want to shoot it, and I've had some single action Armies on the channel before. One was a Gen 1 black powder era one that I just did a From the Vault video with, and one was part of a unique Colt pistol collection. I've never shot one. And now we're going to get to, but this one is not a Colt, but it is a relatively faithful reproduction. No, it's not Italian. It's not one of the Uberti ones. It is the standard manufacturing ones. This one is made in Connecticut, and even that little bug wants to check it out. Take a look at that case hardening on the outside of that receiver. Richard told me that is done with the old traditional method of like fire and bone and whatever the original way of doing it was, where a lot of companies today will use a chemical which emulate that look. I believe it's cyanide based, but this is done the original way. All the parts on this are also forged, where companies like Colt use casting and MIM parts, but everything on this is forged. All of these small parts, the screws, are fire blued, and they really stand out on this gun. Looks absolutely gorgeous. I believe the ejector rod as well. This is a 5.5 inch barreled version. I think some people called it the artillery, the original. Dimensionally, it is my understanding this is not the same as an original Colt, that this is a little bit thicker. And the reason it's a little bit thicker is that you can shoot more powerful 45 Colt rounds through it. So it's copied more from the Uberti version of it, but functionally it works the same. But the difference you probably would not be able to feel unless you had one side by side and used a dial caliper. So it's not 100% the same dimensions as a Colt, but it's supposed to be more durable, which is cool. Now, some people are going to say right now, oh my God, the gun's loaded, you're being unsafe. No, they're all snap caps. And by the way, even if the gun was unloaded, you are safe because a bullet cannot transcend space and time and go through the internet and hurt you. So if I even point this gun at you, you're 100% safe. But just to show you, and by the way, yes, I know there are 4 clicks when you pull the hammer back. Half cock is the second click, and that allows you to rotate the cylinder. And I will open, oh, see one of the snap caps just came out. There it is, right there. So you can see there's no real ammo in this. So close the loading gate back up. And yes, I know in order for me to drop the hammer, you have to pull it all the way back and then you can drop it. And by the way, take a look at the hammer. It has the old style original type firing pin on it. And that's why I need these snap caps, so when I do dry fire it in the trigger pull test, it will not damage the gun. So there you go. Yeah, what a beautiful firearm. It even has some nice walnut grips on it. Even though I think I like Brownworks grips more, these look pretty good. Pretty good. I think Richard is disappointed in them. He thinks for a gun of this price point, which is cheaper than a Colt, should still have nicer grips. But I kind of like it. They look very utilitarian. My Colt doesn't have wood grips. It has a set of like the plastic ones, which were real popular in the 70s. And I still want to buy a nice set and have it sent to Mark at Brownworks so he can properly fit them. Because all these grips have to be properly fit. So anyway, there it is. Standard manufacturing. Single action Army. They even put the patent dates on the side of the frame, and the font on the barrel, which I know is not going to come through, is the same font as the original Colts. So I'm sure my accuracy with this is going to be terrible. I'm just not a cowboy action shooting guy. You know, I don't shoot guns like this that often. I'll probably try to shoot it one-handed. I'll probably try to shoot it two-handed. I know you're supposed to shoot it one-handed. You're supposed to load it to 5, not 6. But at the range, I'll load it to 6 because I'm not going to be carrying it. I'm immediately going to be shooting it. We'll just see. I know that people that are true purists of the Single Action Army are going to hate the review. Tell me what I'm doing wrong, but I already know all the things. I'm just going to review it as an average gun guy. But man, oh man, is that one beautiful revolver. That is just a beautiful revolver. Just absolutely gorgeous. Yeah. Absolutely gorgeous. So, don't know what to think of this one yet. What I'm going to do with it, I'm really going to kind of have to plan it out. I do have to see how much 45 Colt I have. I know Richard gave me a box, which was super nice of him. I think I have a box in my safe, I think. And then I might have to see what happens next month when I can request some ammunition from Brownworks. So I might need just a box of that. So I think 100 rounds, 150 rounds tops is about all I would need for this. But I've just never reviewed a gun like this before, so I know I will make mistakes. But hopefully you'll go on this journey with me. I do believe this is also a variation of the 3rd generation Single Action Armies because it has the button to release the cylinder if you want to disassemble it. So I'll probably also do a field strip video on this as well and go over some different tricks to get the cylinder out without scratching it. So there you go. Standard manufacturing, Colt Single Action Army. So tell me what you think of that. So we got 2 very different things on the workbench today. A Mark 12 Mod H and a Single Action Army model 1873. So there you go. So let me know what you think about anything we talked about on the workbench tonight. the Mark 12, the pistols, the revolvers. I would love to know, and what should I take into consideration when I review them? So thanks for joining me here in the garage, and if you watch to the end of this video, the word of the day is going to be color. Color, because of the color case hardening that we have on this beautiful standard manufacturing revolver. All right, so use that word in the comment. I know you watched to the end and you are a true vault dweller. Thank you as always. And as always, thanks for watching.